and BMO. This is my new project, Dossiers. True crime stories inspired by the podcast Criminal. For now, let's spin some yarns. 4th of July, New Hampshire it is. Off on a drive now, Gehring is pissed. Divorcing his wife now, sharing the kids with poor Terry Knight. Unfair little bitch. At 14, Sarah amused from the window. Philip, 11, enthused by the Big Show's missiles. Manuel, brutal as sicko, explodes too as he fumes over insults. Miss those usual routes to the kids' home. Grips holster, dim moon is a sickle. Pistol joins in the booming that's in vogue. Rip holes gruesomely through where their grins go. After the blasphemous act, his band is a madhouse. Parody act of a dad as they're fastened and strapped down. Manual panicking, New Hampshire fast in the background. Burying Maggie's practically been blacked out.
No person should have to bury their children, never mind want to after they've killed them.
Plagued by questions the parent is filled with. Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
No person should have to bury their children, never mind want to after they've killed them.
Crave my answers, I ask, could they still live?
Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
In a week in the West, they catch the cold psycho. He then confessed, depressed in his own trial. He then attempts directing them towards jawbones. He then forgets. Investors in Ohio, it's all from the dad, cause it all went black. Recalls what he can as he scrawls them a map. Ironically sad, unconsciously stabs when the drawing he has is a toddler's craft. Concrete slabs like monument drafts. Green punk, tall grass, and some logs in a stack. Offering that to absolve what he has done. Strangles himself and the door to the back shut.
No person should have to bury their children, never mind want to after they've killed them.
I'll search silence and spare you the build-up.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip. No person should have to bury their children, never mind want to after they've killed them.
Grief is a death tax, Karen will bill us.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip.
2 years through this, clues all useless. Feds look fruitless. Press push, news clips, a clarion call to Samaritans. Please search. Clarity's all and the burial deserved. Who reads it? Stephanie Dietrich, a grocer. Deeply felt Terry Knight's pleading for closure. A mother, she empathized grief even closer. Sees it's her home turf.
We go, let's go search.
Untold, humble, salt of the earth make. Dug those chuck holes, mocking the worst graves. Gung-ho, up, no halting the search made. Runs roads, months flow, calls into work late. Nice Cujo with a fine-tuned nose. Piled loose notes, Steph's fine-tooth comb. Mind's crude holes, won't quite lose hope. We will fly you home and then fine-tune stones. The pup chose to sit in some snow by the road. Uncovers the kids. When you know, then you know. Rico beside her, she needs no admirer. She says
that's just how some people are wired.
She says it's just how some people are wired.
Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip.
Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip.
No person should have to bury their children,
never mind want to after they've killed them.
No person should have to bury their children,
never mind want to after they've killed them.
Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip.
Please help me find Sarah and Philip.
I swear I'll find Sarah and Philip. Many thanks to Brickwall TV for doing their generous part in having us here. So this next story is about a young man who moved to Philly to play professional soccer and ended up making friends with the homeless. And when one of his homeless friends went missing, he obsessively became a junior detective in helping them find the body and solve the mystery. These are really grim stories, but I think the through line is helping one another in terms of tragedy. Adam went to Philly to play soccer as a pro. On off time, he'd wander. By overpasses, he'd roam. Off time, he'd chat with folks who hadn't had a home. He'd make sandwiches he'd dole out to those he get to know. Now, met Red Cull, well-read culture, drifter, gentleman. Old card, gold heart, silver tongue with civil etiquette. His lady Angie went in Adam or ammo, aggro, expletives. Adam hadn't expected it. Exceptional Red defended him. Adam frequented the benches and bridges. Affection had risen for Red and his missus. He desperately wished to help denizens dismissed and marked both the vagrants. Vague intoxicated went missing. Around July 4th, homicide detective Mangold discovers a corpse by the river, horrifically mangled. Sicko dismantled the body and horribly bagged those limbs tangled in branches and a mobile dangled. Swamp precinct was stumped, identifying the body. Mangold's always solving, but probably not this homie. Desk donning a post-it, hosting Adam's number written. A kid with uncanny hunch, some Angie was the victim. The homeless, the detectives question when dispensing cars for business. Our defense around the shield, real reticent and timid. Desperate, they reckon assistance and reconnaissance since. Recollecting the respect he replaced, they renting the bridges. Adam hit the ground running in gumshoes obsessive. He called the precinct daily, they called him junior detective. Angie meant a lot to him, this manifested impressive. Never took a break, looked for breaks in the case, connecting. Evidence collecting as he met with Angie's exes when mentioned a residence she'd allegedly never left. At this point, Adam ain't gonna break in an apartment. Let Mangold know the men all go to get a warrant. The city key smashed the door, anticipated horrors more bizarre than gore. See, Angie was a hoarder. Postage, lawnmower, papers 40 years or more are redolent that readily lent the scent of drugstores. The badges didn't have a minute to root through the trash. Left it to Adam and Adam to pursue the truth of Ange. He supposed the corpse's clothes implored Ange was killed indoors. The force ignored him, assuring it'd look different, of course. Adam felt like he'd made no progress at all until a neighbor recalled a brawl that he'd heard through the wall. Choking, shouting, pounding, a domestic, wild, crazy, consistent with the right date, placing a Good Friday, maybe. Adam's suspicion roused now. Red Colt was suspect, conflicting dour unrest, especially because he loved him. A convincing note dug up from her unkempt junk mess. Unquestionably, Red Colt, the red-handed culprit, caught Red Colt. His shopping cart stocked full of cash. Seems a family member died and passed it down to Ange. Adam can't believe the stark good and evil in man. Mangold claims the case closed thanks owed to the soccer champ. Mangold retired. Ange's cash passed to her son. Red Colt passed the cancer once in prison for what he'd done. He retired gumshoes just to cruise on greasy carrot, and he runs food pantries to honor fallen Angie. Now Adam runs food pantries to honor fallen Angie. BMO. Thank you. If anybody's afraid of the Doctors, this is, like most hip-hop songs, this is rooted in historical nonfiction. And this is about a 1850s nurse, Jolly Jane, who was a serial murderer. It's a true story.
For them.
Jane felt she aided her prey, she confessed.
Warped head.
Unstable, disabled, got cradled in bed.
Force fed.
Fate to fade, all their pain dulled to rest.
Sure end.
Fatally, playfully taking their breath.
Court sketch.
Gave her the label, the angel of death.
A hilarious and personable death guide planner, Jane Nefarious, surely had a most memorable bedside manner.
Taunton lunatic asylum for psychotic patients. Topping Jolly Jane, do not mistake her commonplace complainants. An arthritic age is innocuous safe. She's got insane deadly habits. Devil's advocate. God she played, caught and contained off at the Cape Cod estate, off of the Davis's inoculation. Author Graves, her knowledge gained at college, Cambridge. Odd experimentations, macabre engagements certainly implied her certifiable state, and the state denied her certification. The horror-born Nora Kelly to an alcoholic father. Kelly the crackpot, whack job. I had jotted maybe the fodder. A tailor, the tale goes, try to sew his eyelids closed. Lost it, lost mother to the illness she's fraught with, despite that she fought it. With no support, the kids went to an orphanage, impoverished. Honora insists, boarded with the top-end Toppins fostered, and the Toppins renamed her Jane to emulate a favorite aunt, and he started embracing darkness regardless of shed hardships.
For them.
Jane felt she aided her prey, she confessed.
Warped head.
Unstable, disabled, got cradled in bed.
Force fed.
Fate to fade, all their pain dulled to rest.
Sure end.
Fatally, playfully taking their breath.
Court sketch.
Gave her the label, the angel of death.
A hilarious and personable death guide planner, Jane Nefarious, surely had a most memorable bedside manner.
Now, as her alias implies, Jane was jovial. Alas, the ale glass applied a mask of joking tones. Observe morbid roller coasters, swerve morbid overdoses, serve morphine comatose, rapidly atrophying stoked to toast, tragically atrophy folks to ghost, as she would happily hold them close. Kiss them and dismiss them, finished as they finished, indicative of her sickness. She admitted it once, admitted. She came to burn her exits, came highly recommended. Surprising, one reference read, Jane sat by to the bitter end. Submissive hide sits inside it, its questionable ethics, a syringe for sight of elicited incited vile deadly injections. Jane, whenever questioned, claims empathetic intentions, signifies her murderers had sick, ill-advised mercy subjective.
Poor them.
Jane felt she aided her prey, she confessed.
Warped head.
Unstable, disabled, got cradled in bed.
Force fed.
Fate to fade, all their pain dealt to rest.
Sure end.
Fatally, playfully taking their breath.
Court sketch.
Labeled the angel of death.
A hilarious and personable death guy planner Jane Nefarious surely had a most memorable bedside manner.
She wonders why the undesired come to ire. I yearn to learn why your ire is what I earn. Justified snuffing beloved lives stuffed inside urns. Sometimes drugs of pining, she mustn't have gotten her dire number right. Adjusted higher, admiringly judges her fine work. A writhing, cuddled 100 drug to die and smirks. Thanks very much. I know that. Thank you. So these are all songs from my new EP, Dusty Dossiers, which was recently put out on Fake 4, which is a Connecticut-based label. So thank you to them for supporting this release. And there will be links for you to go listen to that stuff. For now, this is the final track, which is called Open Case. Fren and Edwina, a Houston Mr. and Mrs. were oil and water, the Rogers all piss and vinegar. Bickering occurred viciously with vim and vigor. The rigmarole, rigorous, ridiculous on the Richter. Rigmarole and scriptoring, ridiculing descriptors. Thriving off conflict, neither victims, neither victors. Inventive pettiness, the Texans kept separate fridges. Effective sentences stretch acceptable decibel limits. Decades of livid head games, headaches at best in prison. Their neglected, hermitic kid attendant who kept his distance. Grin and bearing bare teeth snarled, rarely loved there, unfairly, Charles was faring upstairs.
Once a puzzle gets its hooks in you, it never lets you go. The more that you ignore it, you're in quicksand, sinking slow. Once a seed is planted in you, brainstorms nourish, nurse its growth. Miseries with missing pieces, missing piece until it's whole.
Beaten little kid, geophysicist, genius live with his senior citizens. Evil sits in him, needs an impetus. Abused, reclusive doormat. All chats reduced to broomstick Morse tabs. Eludes the poor parents who slipped through door cracks. Mom wrote bogus notes and stole with her only kid's hand forged. Charles owned and loaned his homeowner's own as his landlord. Could have lost the house, wanted now to blot them out without getting caught somehow. Largely thought that a plot was sound.
Once a puzzle gets its hooks in you, it never lets you go. The more that you ignore it, you're in quicksand, sinking slow. Once a seed is planted in you, brainstorms nourish, nurse its growth. Mysteries with missing pieces, missing piece until it's whole.
65, the final year that Charles takes shit. Mom and Pop betrayed him, thought he ought to slay them. Watch the grave macabre display, which is his Father's Day gift. Seldom held a grudge, held in love, held a gun. Calls Mom impatient. Monster waiting, had thick skin, trigger finger itched him. Scratched it with a blast, which scratched Mom off his hit list. Fred crawled faster, but didn't it all matter? The walls splatter. Handyman's claw hammer mauled Dad as his skull shattered. In the bathroom tub, Chuck tapped the blood like Dracula. Hacked and cut, packed him up meticulously, had to scrub. 3 days cleaning damage, planned a scene stage for the badges. Parents with fridges for caskets made a clean break, and he vanished.
Once a puzzle gets its hooks in you, it never lets you go. The more that you ignore it, you're in quicksand, sinking slow. Once a seed is planted in you, brainstorms nourish, nurses growth. Mysteries with missing pieces, missing piece until it's
Montage's play of clocks rotating 30 years now. Montage's play of clocks rotating 30 years now. Contemplative office mates pick up a whiff of the scent strong. Dossiers, dusty state rinses, they pick up or left off. Martha and Hugh, 2 obsessive forensic accountant buddies. Farming for clues, Hugh confessed, research adrenaline junkies. Alarming but true, soon consumed immensely contentedly studied. Embarking like sleuths, snooping intently, getting intensely bloody. Interviewing more and more, riddles drew them door to door. Quizzing 100+ citizens, forming this tour de force isn't considered enduring chores. Sifting and forming forms, digging through the gory lores. Diligence and core allure, microfish through microfish. Moonlighting gumshoes, dug through one open case, open 2 hearts and love grew. Martha and Hugh, all odds against you, bonding them two. As dots connect two, want to spread truth and document proof. Confound, investigations failed, police evaded veil. The funhouse, case entailed, strange details that they unveiled. Bloodhounds chased their tails on paper trails till they prevailed. Funhouse views and case details, and Martha's face was veiled. They finally out, they find it out, and tying loose ends tied the knot. Compiled a lot of files, pride and plotting, prideful prodding. Defied the odds in the quite macabre crime. They might have solved the icebox murders, never lied their findings, thus they write the plot. John Mackey, that missing key, investigating game. His widow willing witness was integral to explain. Charles, who's Anthony Pitts, is his secondary name. Several days after the murder, visits a secretary solitary Jane. Now the sedentary cave dweller, his reputation claimed. Jane's lover provides a getaway, buys a Cessna for a plane. Absconded from the Texas state to endorse and flew the coup. Golden goose turned profits for bosses who knew the truth. Phony hitman, Tony Pitt's plan to kick back. Strange, assume no kickback from his infractions. Impact, waves dispute, riff-raff went bad. Karma charged the grim tax and rage crew 86 mad. Charles with the pickaxe. These mysteries, we keep getting obsessed with them, digging further.
Once a puzzle gets its hooks in you, it never lets you go. The more that you ignore it, you're in quicksand, sinking slow. Once a seed is planted in you, brainstorms nurse its growth. Mysteries with missing pieces, missing piece until it's whole.
Thank you. Thanks very much.